Good morning or afternoon. It is Monday. Welcome to your English class. Thank you for being here. As right now, I'm probably driving home from Chicago, and the drive is about 6 hours. It is really long, so be thankful that you're not there. I hope you had a nice weekend, and we are moving into chapter 5 today of Fault in Our Stars. But before we do that, we're actually going to do a little activity in your packet. So what I need you to do, no lip smacking. I need you to get out your packet and find the page that has the graphic organizers that talk about character. So this page right here says characters, and it says Fault in Our Stars on the side. I'm going to give you a second to pull that up. And I'm going to go ahead and read the directions, so please follow along. It says, fill up the organizer with quotes and details that show what the character is like, i.e. physical descriptions, inner desires, biggest fears, and important traits. Include the page numbers. We're going to go ahead and do one together so you have an idea of what exactly this is about. We've been studying the characters over the last couple of days, making inferences and such. So today we are going to spend some time before we read chapter 5 looking at Hazel, looking at Augustus, and looking at Isaac. So for physical description, we're going to go ahead and write down some words with some page numbers that we think would match the physical description, what she actually looks like. So let's go ahead and try to find one. So if you go to page 11, kind of a third or 2/3 of the way down the page, you see she says, when it was my turn, I said, my name's Hazel. I'm 16, thyroid with mets in my lungs. I'm okay. So that might not seem like a whole lot of physical description, but she does say that her name's Hazel and that she's 16. So obviously, we could say she's a girl. And we could say that she's a teenager. So go ahead and write teen. Sorry, I'm trying to write with this thing. It's not working very well. And we found that on page 11. Now, as you read throughout the rest of the book, we might get more description of what she actually looks like. We might get her hair color. We might get her, body type and so on. But right now, that's good. So she's a girl. She's a teenager. Found that on page 11. With inner desires, desires is just another way of saying her needs or her wants or something that she really wants to have. So we're going to find something in the text that supports inner desires. I found one on page 47 when she's at the mall with her friend and she's kind of exhausted. She doesn't like, having to pretend that she's normal, and Caitlin is just going on about high school and everything, and she really just wants to be alone. If you look at the bottom of page 47, she says, anyway, I really did like being alone. So one of her inner desires is that she likes to be alone. So we're going to go ahead and write that, likes to be alone. I don't think this is going to work. That's okay. Likes to be alone. Okay, you get the idea. You're writing it on your packet way better than I'm writing it on this computer thing. Anyway, that was page 47. Okay, the last one. And by the way, we're going to keep going. So throughout the reading, this whole space will get filled up with inner desires. And I actually think that you can add to Hazel, right now. Important traits. A trait is just another word for a personality kind of characteristic. So smart or nerdy or hardworking or, honest, things like that. So we're going to find evidence in the text to support an inner trait. And when I just said honest, something really came to me about when she went over to Gus's house and Isaac was kind of having a meltdown because his girlfriend broke up with him. And, she was trying to console, which means help. She was trying to help Isaac when he was upset, but she really was just honest, when he was talking about love and promises. And on page 60, she goes, sometimes people don't understand the promises they're making when they make them, I said. I really just think she's just an honest person. So on page 60, I found that she's honest. So I'm going to go ahead and write honest here. And I don't know why this is so hard. Page 60. Okay. You are now going to do the following. I want you to come up with one more trait for physical description, one more for inner desire, and one more for important traits. So basically do what we just did one more time with Hazel. I then want you to do the same thing with Augustus. So you are going to do 2 things with him. So 2 physical descriptions, 2 inner desires, 2 important traits. And then lastly, I want you to look at Isaac. Again, 2 physical descriptions, 2 inner desires, and 2 important traits. Now, you might not be able to find 2 for Isaac, but you're going to try. And I think you could definitely get inner desires and important traits, maybe not physical description, but maybe I'm going to challenge you to do that. So before we get into our reading today, I want you to spend some time right now working on Hazel, Augustus, and Isaac. And we're really just analyzing the characters because this book is a character book. It is really not about plot. I could tell you right now what ends up happening, and that's really not the beauty of the story. The beauty of the story are the characters and how John Green creates these make-believe people. These people are not real, but you're going to feel like they're real, and if you already haven't already. So go ahead and take some time to do these graphic organizers and then pause this recording now. When you're ready to move on to chapter 5, the reading, you may resume the recording. Okay, so now you have finished the graphic organizer. So great, good job with that. And we're going to move into chapter 5. So chugging right along with Fault in Our Stars. Chapter 5 starts on page 64. And just like Friday, we're going to read together. We're going to listen to the recording. We're going to answer some questions along the way. And then eventually the recording will stop and you'll have to finish on your own. This video is probably going to be over in about 4 to 5 minutes. I can only record 15 minutes at a time. And then I'll have to open up another video. So I will do that, and then you'll open up the second video for today and finish the chapter. If you have not already, please make sure you go onto your Power School and you take the Chapter 4 quiz that was from Friday's reading in class, and the person who is with you right now will be able to provide you the code for Chapter 4's quiz. Tomorrow, first thing with me when I get back, will be the short quiz on Chapter 5. So make sure that today you finish that chapter, if not in class, tonight at home for your homework. Okay? So we are on chapter 5, and here goes the recording. See you tomorrow.
Well, I believe in true love.
Oops, that's not the recording. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Chapter 5, page 64.
Chapter 5. I did not speak to Augustus again for about a week. I had called him on the night of the broken trophies, so per tradition it was his turn to call. But he didn't. Now, it wasn't as if I held my phone in my sweaty hand all day, staring at it while wearing my special yellow dress, patiently waiting for my gentleman caller to live up to his sobriquet. I went about my life. I met Caitlin and her cute but frankly not Augustinian boyfriend for coffee one afternoon. I ingested my recommended daily allowance of phalanxophore. I attended classes 3 mornings that week at MCC, and every night I sat down to dinner with my mom and dad. Sunday night, we had pizza with green peppers and broccoli. We were seated around our little circular table in the kitchen when my phone started singing, but I wasn't allowed to check it because we have a strict no phones during dinner rule. So I ate a little while Mom and Dad talked about this earthquake that had just happened in Papua New Guinea. They met in the Peace Corps in Papua New Guinea, and so whenever anything happened there, even something terrible, it was like all of a sudden they were not large, sedentary creatures, but the young and idealistic and self-sufficient and rugged people they had once been, and their rapture was such that they didn't even glance over at me as I ate faster than I'd ever eaten, transmitting items from my plate into my mouth with a speed and ferocity that left me quite out of breath, which of course made me worry that my lungs were again swimming in a rising pool of fluid. I banished the thought as best I could. I had a PET scan scheduled in a couple weeks. If something was wrong, I'd find out soon enough. Nothing to be gained by worrying between now and then. And yet still I worried. I liked being a person. I wanted to keep at it. Worry is yet another side effect of dying.
Please pause and answer question number 1.
Finally, I finished and said, "Can I be excused?" And they hardly even paused from their conversation about the strengths and weaknesses of Guinean infrastructure. I grabbed my phone from my purse on the kitchen counter and checked my recent calls. Augustus Waters. I went out the back door into the twilight. I could see the swing set, and I thought about walking out there and swinging while I talked to him, but it seemed pretty far away given that eating tired me. Instead, I lay down in the grass at the patio's edge, looked up at Orion, the only constellation I could recognize, and called him. "Hazel Grace," he said. "Hi," I said. "How are you?" "Grand," he said. "I have been wanting to call you on a nearly minutely basis, but I have been waiting until I could form a coherent thought in re an imperial affliction." He said in re. He really did. That boy. "And?" I said. "I think it's like... Reading it, I just kept feeling like... Like? I asked, teasing him. "Like it was a gift?" he said askingly. "Like you'd given me something important." "Oh," I said quietly. "That's cheesy," he said. "I'm sorry." "No," I said. "No, don't apologize." "But it doesn't end." "Yeah," I said. "Torture. I totally get it. Like, I get that she died or whatever." "Right, I assume so," I said. "And okay, fair enough. But there is this unwritten contract between author and reader, and I think not ending your book kind of violates that contract." "I don't know," I said, feeling defensive of Peter Van Houten. "That's part of what I like about the book in some ways. It portrays death truthfully. You die in the middle of your life, in the middle of a sentence. But I do really want to know what happens to everyone else. That's what I asked him in my letters, but he
Please
never
pause
answers."
the recording and answer question number 2.
"Right. You said he is a recluse?" "Correct. Impossible to track down." "Correct. Utterly unreachable," Augustus said. "Unfortunately so," I said. "Dear Mr. Waters," he answered, "I am writing to thank you for your electronic correspondence, received via Ms. Vliegenthaert this 6th of April from the United States of America. Insofar as geography can be said to exist in our triumphantly digitized contemporaneity." "Augustus? What the hell?" "He has an assistant," Augustus said. "Lidowidge Vliegenthaert. I found her. I emailed her. She gave him the email. He responded via her email account." Okay, keep reading.
This is the end of video 1. Please open up video 2.